just put it in there.
I don't see it.
It's called Smoke Clean.
Smoke. Oh.
All right. You called this one Smoke Redo.
Yeah, I redid it.
All right. It looks like it's working much better. I would recommend testing your video before you submit it, because you've got just a ton of blank frames right there.
Okay.
And we'd have to like kind of extrapolate it and look at it to make sure that the aesthetics are fine.
Yeah.
I'm going to pause it and see if I can just. So it looks okay. A little break right there. Make sure that you.
Oh, okay.
Fix that so that you can paint it. Yeah, but it looks like it's moving okay. It might be moving too fast.
Should I make it to, I think it's on 2s right now, or 3s.
Well, I think that you should think about how far away from the volcano you are. And so right now, this kind of looks like the stump of a tree, right?
Yeah.
And so if it's supposed to be a stump of a tree, then you could certainly kind of figure that smoke would be coming out of it, or trees do burn, but this is supposed to be a volcano, and we're gonna talk about lightning and lava and mud and everything. And so if it's going to be a half a mile away, you're going to have to put this on 8s or 16s even.
Okay.
Right. So let me see if I can go backwards. So it looks like it's moving okay, but you just have to remember your scale. Just remember your scale. All right, so let me go back here. So this is Madison replying to yourself as the bomb explosion. Did I put a folder for the bomb? I thought I did.
I didn't see one.
Sorry.
I just found it.
I thought I put the explosion folder in there like immediately. Yeah, maybe I didn't. Okay, sorry everybody. Let me just do that really quickly right now. I'll just put explosion. Maybe I didn't save it. All right, let me go back to that other window. Okay. Okay, so you're following right along with what I did here. This looks great, Madison. One more time. Yeah, you're following right along with what I did. It looks great. I think the smoke could, no, I think it's okay. We're going to add to this a little bit today, but that looks great. And let me loop this. All right, so did we talk about this one, Madison, last week?
Yeah, I think one of my issues is just, for me, it's like kind of like bugging my eye when I try to do with the onion skin to see where it's supposed to go next, and like my eye has trouble focusing on where to put it.
Well, I think that you've got an interesting thing happening, whether you intended that thing to happen or not. And that is, hold on one second. So I'm going to draw just for a second here. So this node right here, can you see what I'm doing?
Yeah.
Madison. So when I'm planning this out, I would say that the path would be like this. And that you would say, oh, okay, well, continuing out off the screen, this little node over here is going to be way up there. And then you go backwards and you say, you know what, this is okay too. So you plan out your keys so that that's the motion right there, right? And then you go back in and you do the breakdowns. And you're right, it gets a little visually confusing, especially when you get in there and start doing all the little in-betweens all the way through there. But then you got to do the thing on the bottom where okay, so this is a node on the bottom. And I think that you've got it nicely spaced, right? And so you just track those nodes all the way out. Well, the problem is that you've got this node going into this position here. So you're crossing over. And that can happen. You just have to do that, you know. And so I would say that you have to just maybe redirect this one and fix the drawing so that they move this way, because I think that that's the proper way to think about the effect anyway, is that as the smoke comes out of anything, this node right here, it's going to rise upwards. So this node right here becomes this node. This node right here becomes this node. And then this one goes into this position and continues. So you just got to keep it straight for yourself. And then this one goes off the screen, and you're going to need this one because you need these positions here. So I'm just going to leave that sit there for a second and watch what happens. See how it's moving? See this node right here?
Mm-hmm.
See how it's pushing right into here?
Mm-hmm.
So I think what's missing are these drawings right here along this path. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah.
So let me put this back on again. I'm going to pick some obnoxious red color. Okay. So I think the easiest way to track this is, you know, I think that in my eye, I can follow the little dots and the circles and what have you. But you can, and you probably should think of this little dot right here actually being a volume. There's a little puff of smoke that moves into this position. And so you can animate this circle along the line of action. And so even into this position, it becomes a little bigger. And then into this position, you know, it gets a little smaller. That's fine, it can do that. But then this one gets a little bigger, and animate that circle going all the way up. And so instead of trying to repair it, it might be easier to just do it over. And so this little node right here animates into this position, animates into this position. And just animate these little spheres. They're all connected, but if you can get those animated spheres along this little path of action, it might make more sense to you. All right, did you want to take a screenshot of that?
Yeah. All right.
Got it?
Yeah.
All right, and you put that in the smoke due last week folder. That was fine. All right, Isaiah. Okay, great, excellent. Change this background out though.
Okay.
I have a recommendation for you. Your perspective is off.
Okay.
So I think that if this line right here, I think you're confusing it with being the horizon. Come on, Toon Boom. Sorry, Zoom. So if this is the horizon, then this stuff right here becomes like a mountain.
Okay.
And so if we look at just what I did last, oh, I can't play this. Can I? No, I can't because Zoom is taking over. Well, here, let me just redo this. Oops. So you can see that my blast marks,
Yeah.
they don't go near the horizon.
Okay.
So for you, it's like, what are you doing? So, and I think all you just need to do is change that one drawing so that it's more in perspective. Do you know what to do? Do I need to?
Yeah, I understand.
So yeah, just get everything radiating off this center point, and then don't go past that horizon. And
Okay.
you could even raise the horizon line up a little bit just to give yourself room.
Okay.
The effect looks good.
Okay.
Actually, let me. Okay, it's lost my little sheet. All right, sorry. John,
Yep.
are you awake? How's it going over there in Vietnam?
Yeah, it's okay.
It's okay. Oh wait, I'm sorry. I'm just out of order. Janeska's. Okay, I think this looks good. There's a couple of things that I think you should adjust.
Okay.
So I think that this part is fine, but I think that this little smoke is too fast.
Okay.
So slow this down. Just take a look at what candle smoke looks like after the candle has been extinguished.
Okay.
And it moves pretty quick, but not that quick. And then
Okay.
I think your flash is okay, but I think that you just don't have enough of it.
Okay.
And we're going to add to this anyway. So follow my things from last week. These really should be paintable shapes.
Okay.
Instead, you've got them open, and I think you don't have enough of them. If we just do this frame by frame. Oops, I don't know why I did that. Oh, this is your block frame. So if we follow this, there's 1, 2, and then they're gone. So you, 3 would probably be better.
Okay.
And then change out this background. I think this looks a little bit too,
Gray?
no, this little blast mark.
Oh, okay.
I think that there's just too many straight lines here and they're too even. They're too mechanical. So it ends up looking like cardboard.
Okay.
You want to make it look like, you know, something terrible has happened.
Mm-hmm.
So if you keep these the same, I think that would be fine. This one's calling for, you know, a blast mark out there kind of thing. And then, but the ones in the back here, just give yourself a longer one here and then go medium, little. And then this one's going to go deep into perspective. And so bring it back and then give yourself a little one and then go to the right and then a little one. And that's all you need. So
Okay.
you'll end up having,
Screenshot.
so this line right here is sloppy for me. So it
Okay.
would just go down, down. 1, 2, 3, 4. And really what you should be doing is kind of crumbling these a little bit. They don't have to be straight lines. They can be a little bit more earthy. So just
Okay.
get a, so instead of like you have like 8 or 10 of them, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Just limit it to 7. Okay, you
Okay.
got that?
Yeah, I
Okay.
screenshotted. Thank you.
Okay. John, now we're going to John. Okay, this looks okay. And I don't mind this kind of blast mark. I think it's fine. I would prefer though, I think that you should think about it, about getting the,
Longer.
hey, why is this doing this? This is weird. No, put in the fuse parts,
Oh,
the little things that we did last week, the little
like a
the
spark.
sparks, the sparks. I think you can keep this little cloud thing, but put in the sparks.
Okay.
That's weird that I cleared that, but my Zoom is still remembering it. Okay. Yeah, I think that you need those. Your smoke is, that little smoke is okay. I think this little blast moves too slow. I think you've got it on 2s or 3s or something.
Yeah.
Let's take a look. Well,
There's
1, 2, 3. Yeah, this should be on 1s. Let me just check. Oh, stupid Zoom. Yeah, this is moving too slow.
okay.
That part's moving too slow. Oh, and I think that you've got your white and black frames on for just a little too long. How many frames for your white and black frames?
I think there are 3.
Yeah, it should be, now that I'm here, let me just check this. My white frame is white for 1, black for 1, and then back to the scene, and then 1 for white, 1 for black.
Okay.
So it's just 1 frame. It's the explosion, it's the flash. So make those adjustments. And we're gonna add to this today a little bit anyway.
Okay.
All right, Jinhee.
Yes.
Okay, yeah, that looks good. What I think you need, yeah, get a double line on this. So now that it's working pretty good,
Mhm.
now that it's working pretty good, go back in there and just double it.
Another one. Okay.
And then so you can fill it and it'll be fine. Let me. All right, and you've got the little charred things. We're going to talk about the little charred things today. And remember that this smoke here should go away. So you just have to do your finishing frames.
Okay.
Okay, it looked good. Thank you, Jinhee.
Thanks.
And explosion in the explosion folder. Isaiah. Oh, did we look at this already, Isaiah? No,
Yes.
we did, but you just put it in the right folder. Okay. Yeah, okay, that looks good. And thank you for putting it in the right folder. I know there's another one. Someone, you guys are like coming up on me here. Is this the same one, Jinhee?
Yeah, it's the same one.
Okay, that's fine. Okay. Jordan. Okay, this is fun. I like this. I think that the plume of smoke right in here is moving too slow. I like all the shapes and stuff. This pause is good. But yeah, this little part here is moving too slow.
Gotcha.
Just make it happen. Just do it so that it's an explosion and it happens correctly. I think that what you really should have is maybe a little bit more
I just
sparks right here.
Really quickly.
You can just add to it just a little bit more.
Okay.
But as soon as those puppies go away, you need to get that little stream of smoke.
Okay.
I think it just adds to the effect, right?
Yeah.
Because you have the pause, but yeah, that's moving too slow. And I think that these little bits that fall back in here are moving too slow as well.
Right.
But I think that you've got the right idea. Just get the right pacing.
Yep.
All right. All right. Thank you, Jordan. All right. Let's make sure I got everybody. Oh, smoke clean. Good. Okay. All right. Okay.
It's just the same.
You were confused, and so you put everything in one
It was
folder.
before you
That's
posted the
fine. You
wrong
can
one.
do that.
Yeah.
All right. So this is looking good. Are you happy with it?
Yeah, I'm pretty happy with it. I'm probably gonna clean it up a little bit more on the edges, but I think the movement itself is working.
Yeah, I think some of your lines look a little scrappy.
Yeah, exactly.
And I'm catching, my eye is catching this little open space right here. See this one right here that I'm following?
Yeah, it's moving too much.
I think it's fine, but I also think that the whole could become an exterior puff of smoke on the outside.
Gotcha.
It could be kind of fun to do.
Okay.
But yeah, the effect is working. I think that you want to make sure that it connects the first frame to the last frame in the Zoom playback. Is always a little funky. Actually, this is the LMS. That's a little funky to get from the last frame back to the first one. But I can tell just by going from there to the first frame that it might need just a little adjustment. Remember that we use that layout drawing for our very first frame so that we know where to animate into it.
Yep.
If that makes sense.
Okay. Yeah, I just smoothed the lines on that one and add a little bit.
Yeah, I think that this is moving all right as well. Yeah, this is moving okay. So now go back in and do another layer or two on top of it.
Yep.
Because did I say this to you already last? I know I said it to somebody last week. But so now that it's working, go back in there and do, oops, sorry, that's crappy. Now do another one on another layer and double it. And maybe even a third one as well, so that there's like 3 separate little things that are burning.
Gotcha.
And it just adds to the effect. And they don't have to be timed exactly the same way either. What might be really fun is to do those, I mean, with the same kind of number of drawings, but one can move a little slower, one can move a little faster. Turn the layer off.
Okay.
When you're doing the other two, and you'll see that it's kind of like a really cool thing to do. And think about making the ones that are in front transparent and the one that's in middle transparent as well.
Okay, gotcha.
It'll be cool. Okay, cool. Thank you, Jordan.
All right, thank you.
All right, back to you, John. You all have done a lot of work this week, right?
Not really.
All right. So I think this is okay.
Yeah.
It's moving okay, but remember we're a mile away from our volcano. So I'm going to stop the playback and let's just do this one frame at a time. Well, right now it looks like you have it on force.
No way. It's 8.
Here it's on eights. Okay.
Yeah.
So I think you need to in between it and then put it back on eights
Yeah.
and then possibly in between it again and put it back on eights because it's just moving too fast. Remember, we're a mile away from this. So do your in-betweens like we talked about, and then put it back on eights and look at it again. And then maybe you might have to do it one more time to really slow it down.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Did we see that? We saw this one already?
Yeah, we saw this one already.
Okay.
That one same as last week.
Yeah.
So not
And
nothing
this one is
changed.
the same. Okay.
Yeah, nothing changed.
Okay. Yeah. And you still have to fix it. You know, it looks like cotton, right?
Yeah.
Too many little outside curves. You know, I don't know how I can explain this more than I already have. And you'll hear something in just a moment. Hey, stop it. That'll help your awareness of this. But you know, if you start out with a curve, then draw as little one as you can stand. Oh, look, I could draw even a more little one, and then get back into it with a medium, and then a big one, and then a small one, and then a medium one, and try to be random. But you want a good variety of shapes in there. So from just that example that I put right there, you can see that it's looking a little cartoony, but that's fine. I think that you need the essence of cartoon in this. So give yourself a more variety of shapes in there.
Okay.
All right, and Janeska, we saw this one.
Yeah.
You just put it in the right folder, okay.
Yeah.
Jinhee, no, yeah, Jinhee.
Yeah.
Oh, hold on, I have to refresh my screen. Okay, this one's working pretty good. Did we see this already today?
No, we haven't.
Okay, so this one's working pretty good. You know, you've got some funky little shapes in there, but that's okay. And the timing is okay. The shapes are okay. And it loops, yeah, okay, that one's working pretty good.
Yay.
And there, you've got this one. Okay, yeah, that's fun, right? You happy with that one?
Mhm.
Yeah, that's good.
Yes.
All right, Isaiah, do we see both of these? No, these are new. These are your cleanups.
Yes.
Okay, I can just tell by looking at it that this is working well. Yep, okay, that's working good. Okay, so for all of you, let me just do a little thing for you here. I'm not gonna animate this, but let's just talk about this for a second. And this is for all of you, not just for Isaiah. So right in here, there's a couple of options for you. I don't think that you need to do exactly what I did, but I think that now that this is working, One thing that you may want to do is figure out your light source. So give yourself a light source, upper left or upper right. It makes more sense to put the light source here because there's more open space here. If you put the light source over here, then you'd get these like highlights just right there, and it might be a little hard to deal with. But as long as the light source is coming from that direction, coming from this direction, start with your shadows. And what I would do is just kind of mimic these shapes right here. And and you don't have to like worry about getting this animation shadow part to move absolutely perfectly.
Yeah.
In fact, I think that a little bit of variation goes a long way. But I would just go in there and just give yourself a trace back, and you can like go, okay. And the reason why I'm leaving a little space right here is because that's like the part of chiaroscuro where it actually has a rim light, so that there's light coming from over here and then bouncing back again and kind of giving this a little glow on the bottom. And so give yourself just a little rim light right there, and then fill it in. And that this is going to be the thing that you want to copy your main shape for. Or you could just do it like little circular moons. And this is like the easiest way to do it. Just copy it again, so that you have a shape to fill in. And right here, you can go a little thicker, right? And this is just the easiest way to do the shadow. So right here, the shadow might get really thin, and then it might get a little thicker right there. And then just for every frame, you should probably just have 16 of these or so. Give yourself another little circle right there. And then because the light source is up here, this could be a little thicker up here. So now that you're up, give so this is the shadow part. And fill that in with a color and paint it, right? And that looks good, just right the way it is right there, right?
Mhm.
And again, this goes for everyone. So then you could do the same thing on the highlight side, but you can also treat it a little differently. You can just give yourself like, instead of shapes that are paintable, you can just give yourself little highlight shapes that animate. And it would probably look better if there's just little bits like this instead of all closed shapes. And maybe that one's a closable shape. And then keep in mind your highlight here, so that this one is just going to have like a little bit right here, maybe a little bit right there. And these guys, just like a little bit. Nothing, and then maybe just a little bit right here. So these little highlights, or you could continue them, I guess. It might make sense to continue them just so that the animation flows smoothly. So that helps augment this. So you have a highlight here and a shadow on the away side of the light, and then remember too that I asked you all when you were producing this to just think about places that have little holes in it. So Isaiah, I think that you might look at this shape right here and just say, yeah, maybe there might be a little hole right here. And then that animates into another little hole right here. Just to jazz it up a little bit.
Yeah.
Okay, and that goes for everybody, right? And that's the easy thing to do. It's just not going to take any time. You just kind of embellish it a little bit. All right. Madison, do we look at these already? No, this one's new today.
Did you hear it?
Okay, everything is working pretty well here. I think the only thing that you really need to adjust, and you probably know what I'm going to say, is this little bit right here. I think that what you want to do is you want to kind of imagine that there's a source where this smoke is actually starting from. And so you've got this movement that goes from left to right. And so just kind of adjust it so that
It's
there,
safe.
there's the smoke comes out of this area. I think that's the only adjustment you really, and the highlights and shadows. So for you, your light source is going to be up here, right? So it looks good. You just have to kind of adjust that little bit on the bottom,
Yeah.
which is very typical. And special effects animators have that kind of thing to deal with all the time. All right, so Madison, now your other smoke.
That was the one from
Oh, the
earlier.
one from earlier. Okay.
Yeah, I just put
Right.
it in the right
Okay,
place.
perfect. Thank you. All right, and it doesn't look like there's anything new right there. We're flying today, everybody. We're going really fast. And Madison's explosion. All right, and you just put that in the right place too. Did we see that one already?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. All right, so now what I want to do with the explosion is I want to add the shards to it. So it's not like we ran out of time last week. Well, let's just revisit what we did. So this one didn't have a layout. So let's go back to our frame one. We just did a gray. We did the horizon. I did my little bomb. I made it purple. And I like how you all are making yours more steel looking. That's fine. We did the sparks. We did the fuse first, and we copy and pasted the fuse, and we erased a little bit. That was easy. And then we put the sparks on top of it. In this condition, I believe that I still need to add just a little bit more, and maybe some other colors in there, and maybe change the colors of the sparks just a little bit. But that was working pretty well. Technically, literally, if you wanted to be precise about it here on our that's the fuse base. I think that I would like a little ground shadow here. I would like a little bit. Oh, of course, I'm not going to be able to paint. I would like maybe just a little bit of ground shadow. Strange. All right, let me make a new level. SH for shadow. Make sure it's in the right place. Oh, it's probably because it's too gray. So I'm just gonna, nope, okay. Yeah, I just some kind of a little shadow under here. Not to be photorealistic, but just to be more illustrative about it. So just a little shadow there. Then the next thing that we did was we put in these little wisps, and everybody got that idea. It looks like it's fine. Everyone understood that that's fun to do. It's easy, it's free, it goes away, it dissipates. And remember for everyone that there was an essence of timing here, so that I asked you to, before the explosion happened, to put a whole bunch of frames between this last little bit of wisp to the frame where the white frame and black frame. Remember, John that those are only one frame apiece. Hold on one second, everyone. Okay, and then the explosion part. So we have this set on the EXP. Technically, I would want to rename this just EX so that it matched the colors. And then just to reiterate, we start with a shape that we can paint. And then we can make that bigger and bigger. Now it breaks apart, and now there's a hole in the middle of those shapes. And then they're really big. And now these have become circular, that's fine. Curved, they go off the screen. Actually, this is kind of an interesting thing here. I'm gonna make an adjustment because this is where the little sharp parts would actually be moving really fast, but I can see that they're on for 3 frames here, right? And technically, literally, we don't see them because this white frame is overriding it, but in our explosion is just a little pink. Can you see that on the zoom? And then on this frame, it's black, and so we see it again. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna play this, and I want you all to see that this frame right here and the frame before it, so we're looking at frame 100 and 101, actually stall. Watch. See it? It's too slow right there, it stalls. So what we need to do right here is say, add an empty drawing. Create an empty drawing right here. And then on this one, create an empty drawing as well. So what that does is it just kills the hold, the technical hold on this. And if you wanted to, you could say, hey, you know what? It might make sense to delete this frame so you know that there's nothing there. So this is a right click. I just right click to say, just to remind yourself that there's nothing there right there. So now let's look at it again. All right, so it's a little more sharp, right? All right, and then we finished by talking about the smoke. And right now, the smoke for me, I think that I would need to break this down a little bit, put this on 2s, and maybe continue it just a little further so that it dissipates. But let's go backwards just a second. So this is the fuse layer right here, and this is the actual explosion right here. That's the little sharp part. But right, what I'm looking for is where my bomb is. And so where did I put my bomb? It should be on this layer here. And it is. So on this explosion layer right here, we replaced the bomb shape with with the smoke. So, you know, I think it's fine. If you wanted to be precise about this, you could say, well, you know, this bomb is there, but then as soon as it explodes right here, all of this stuff really could be on its own layer. And we can do that simply here just by saying, make a new drawing layer. And this one's just going to be the bomb. So we're just going to say bomb. Add and close. And so what I want to do is I want to drag this bomb stuff to this layer. So I'm going to, hopefully this works with this version of Toon Boom. And this let me double check here. Yeah, so I'm going to shift select all of this, and I should be able to just grab this. Hold on a second. I have a magic mouse on my Mac, and it doesn't get along with Toon Boom perfectly. So I'm going to grab this by just grabbing at the left mouse button and holding it and just moving it up to this layer. and I've got it on the bomb layer now by itself. Now I'm going to take the bomb layer and drag it underneath the explosion layer, because that seems legitimate. And so that's a really great organizational tool. And you could do that in some other applications, but not all. And you got to be careful too, because when you're playing around with your timeline down here, you can accidentally move things onto layers. So just be careful. You know, I wanted to look at this one thing. I know that, oh no, I'm confusing myself. So what I want to do is I want to talk about this bomb shape right here, because let's just test this one more time. Okay, so everything is timed and working. I didn't make too many mistakes. But what I want to do is I want to look at these frames right here. I got white, black, and then I got 1, 2, 3, 4 frames right here. So what I'm going to do is we're going to talk about the actual bomb exploding. So I'm going to turn my onion skin on, and this is going to be this frame right here. I'm going to eyedropper to make sure I've got the right color. So I've got the OB underscore 2, and then I've got the outline, which is the one above it, right? So I've got the color and the outline. So I want to use the outline color here. And I just want to use my pencil on this frame right here on the bomb. And so we probably don't need to do it on the black frame. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to change my mind a little bit here. I'm going to use the minus key to get rid of those 2 frames. So now what happens is I have 6 frames. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 frames instead of 4. Let's make sure that our eye doesn't catch anything weird going on right there. Okay, so that's fine. So right here, this is perfect. With this outside color fill, we have all decided that this is going to be steel. It's a metal bomb. And so it's going to break apart. It's going to turn into little shards of itself. And so you can just kind of work cleanly, or you can work rough. At first, pick a center point. So the little metal scraps are going to just come from the middle. And there's going to be a couple that come towards the camera too. So, you know, you kind of have to think of it. I'm like pulling my Wacom stylus towards me just to kind of think about this thing coming right towards the camera. So I'm just going to draw this little shape. I'm just kind of think about metal. It's got this kind of shape. It's kind of broken. It's kind of sharp. And I don't like it, so I'm going to go back and try it again. You know, something like that is okay. And then it's going to go away from us too. And remember that the parts of the metal that explode downwards are the thing that actually created the hole in the ground. All right, so, and it's looking a little rough here. I might go clean it up later. So I want maybe to the right, to the left. I might want a little shape going off really far to the left, and maybe another one over here. So now let's just go to the next frame. Actually, no, it's fine. We're going to go to the next frame here. And now I want this one to come right towards the camera. So I'm going to just copy the shape, and I'm going to leave it so that it's overlapping the original bomb shape just a little bit. And I don't want that to be tangent. So I'm going to actually bring it out here, and I'm thinking and drawing at the same time, which is always kind of dangerous. So I want it to be kind of big. So I'm going to start here. I'm going to come in like this, I'm going to go out. I'm going to go under. Yeah, and then I decided it is going to cover the bomb. Maybe I'll give it another little hook right there. That's fine. All right, so this guy's going out really fast. All of them are going out really fast. And so it's not going to do anything except go really fast. And you know, how many, we've got 6 frames to deal with here. So that's almost too much. If I plot this out and I say, it started here, this little bit right here used to be part of this metal. I'm going to just get it to be right here. It's not this one's not changing size too much. And this one's not changing size too much, but it's bringing a little buddy along with it. This one's going up and to the left, a little bit to the left. And maybe it's got a little buddy as well, and maybe another little one. And this one's going off even like a little faster. And I'm just gonna look at my composition here. Maybe there's a little buddy right there. Go to the next frame. We've got our onion skin set for just 1 frame. Oh, actually it's showing 2, so that's good. So now I'm gonna start with the one in the middle here. This one in the middle is gonna come up and it's gonna like almost obliterate the camera. So I see that there's like a 3/8 of an inch here. And so I'm just gonna bring this one up a little bit. And I'm gonna kind of look at this shape as a broken piece of metal. As long as it's close to the shape that was behind it, that's fine. So this one's going to actually accelerate a little bit. And I'm thinking about this because if I draw the next one here and in the next frame, I see just like a little corner of it, that's all I need. So this one, the same thing. If I draw it here, I'll never see it again. If I draw it here, I might be able to see one little bit of it, but I don't care. This one right here, this is the last time we see this little bit. This one going up, we're going to see this one here, like this. We're going to add another one, and then we will see 1 and maybe 2 more. And then this one, it's going to accelerate fast. And we will see 1 and maybe 2 more. All right, so this frame right here, now this is going to obliterate the camera. So think about this shape. This is only going to be on for 1 frame, you know, and then think about just the broken piece of metal. It's huge. It comes right up into the camera. In fact, it's so huge, you might want to have a little fun with it and give it like a dimension or even texture. You're never going to see this. So this is off the screen. And this is one of the other reasons why I like drawing in the camera mode, because then we can put our paint 2 line right here. And then what I was saying is that maybe this one has a little dimension to it. Maybe there's a little dimension and you can just color that a different color. This one you won't see. All right, so then this one, if you put this little corner right here, it's fine. If you put this one here, this will go backwards. This will slow down. All right, so this one. And again, you can go back in and start adding a little dimension to it. This one's going straight to the left. It goes right here. And let me move my screen just a little bit. Yeah, we might see that one more time. All right, so this has its little buddies with it. And we could put another one going this way if we thought about it, but let's just take a look at this one being right here. And we're going to go back and just add the little dimension to it. So I'm going to go backwards, add a little dimension to it. And somebody might be thinking, hey, well, you know, could these things possibly rotate? And I don't think you need to worry about that. I think that it's moving too fast. So let's save this and look at the little shard parts. All right, they're there. Let's take a bold step right here and paint them with the fill color. I'm gonna turn my onion skin off. All right, okay. Now, I just wanna make sure that they're flashing correctly. And you probably all have come to realize that sometimes painting leaves these little stray pixels and you have to chase these guys. Oops. Next frame, pull out a little bit, paint it. Close large gap. It's an open shape right there. Next frame. All right, and so this explains the other bit about waiting for 2 or 3 seconds even before the shard parts start falling back into the camera. All right, so this is the thing that we will see. Now we will definitely see this big thing of purple right here. And then we've got one more to paint out here. All right, so let's save this. All right, does everyone understand what I meant about the shards falling back down? So we saw, what we've just done is we've done this little bit right here. This is the thing that we've done. And what we didn't have is stuff going straight up. And it's the stuff that goes straight up in the air. And then 2 seconds later, it comes down and falls back in. It's up to you. You can do that if you want. It's not the hardest or the hardest thing to do, but it makes sense. So I think that just helps the idea of the shards. Again, I think that what this shot needs is just in-betweens on the smoke itself. Right here at the end. All right. There is a way to do this, but you could do a camera move on this where there's a little camera shake right here, right where the explosion's happening. I would just do that in After Effects. You don't have to do that here. All right, so that's just another way to embellish your explosion. It's easy, it's fun. What we're gonna do next is lightning. And I think that what I'll also do is, I'll make a note of this so I don't forget. We're gonna take a break right now. We're gonna do lightning because it makes sense, because it's the same kind of timing as this. And then we're gonna do lava, because that is keeping with the same fundamentals of smoke. And if we get to it, maybe we can do bubbles today too. So just from our list, we're getting ahead of ourselves, right? Gun blasts and lasers and plasma streams, I'm going to move to the final project. But now we're going to do like bubbles, and we can do this eruption thing. So let me write that, eruption. And for whatever it's worth, the whoever designed this class did the gun blast thing. You can see in the special effects board that there's just a whole bunch of ways to handle the gun blast. And this is something that you all do when you're watching a game. And whenever we see a game playing, we see it. This one's got one. There's a bunch of different ways to handle the gun blasts. Probably one of my favorite ones is something like this. And that's kind of why I move it towards the end. What you can make a note for yourself is that what might make sense is that in the final drawing, the sketch for your final, is that the orb is actually sentient. And the orb comes in and it breaks the window of the chemistry lab. Is everyone following along? It breaks the window of the chemistry lab, and then it hovers for a moment, and then it sends out a gun blast and explodes something in the lab itself. Right? So, and what I'd like to do is make sure that you are all doing your little sketches of both the volcano, which I've seen some of yours, the tornado, and at least the volcano, the tornado, and your chemistry lab, so that you know where those little effects are going to land, where they're going to live. Everyone okay? Okay, so take a 15-minute break. Everyone gets a 15-minute break except Isaiah, because he's been evil and he gets 16-minute break. Wait, what? All right, take a 15-minute break. Come on back, everybody. Isaiah, are you around? Harry, Isaiah. Harry.
After editing the frame, my rough animator just keep crashing when I try to render this. I don't know.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's-
There could be a lot of different things. Is your computer good?
yeah, it's good.
I don't know. Let me think about it for a minute. Let me think about it. Restart your computer, or not right now. But that's your first, always your first line of defense is if something's not working, restart your computer. All right, so I have an announcement. The assistant director of the game department contacted me yesterday, and he wanted to know if any one of you would like to do some smoke for a game in the collab in the game department. So before you say yes or no, let me explain what it is. I'm going to explain it by drawing, because I believe that he explained it to me well enough that. So I'm going to save this. I'm going to. Itchy eyes, and sometimes I get allergies. Okay. Shit. Cancel. All right, I'm going to save this and put it away. All right, so on what I'm going to do is just on this one little frame right here, I'm going to explain what I think that he wants. According to his description, he wants some sort of element, a device or something that is in the game. This is for the collab class in the game department, and there's some sort of emitter, some sort of thing that's supposed to be smoking. And I'm just looking at the directions here. So he said that the smoke has to be vertical. So when we were doing our volcano smoke, ours was going off at a 45-degree angle. But he said that this smoke is going to be vertical. So my guess it's going to look something like this. something like this. And there might be like a little bit out here that cycles. And so you know how to do this. There might even be a hole in the smoke. This is up to you. And that smoke goes off the screen up there. All right, so what he told me is that this has to cycle. So you would start from possibly this node and animate the node going up faster. Node, 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 node. And all of that makes sense. This cycle is going to be cycling for 16 drawings. It's going up. I'm sorry, I'm reading my notes and trying to talk at the same time. So this 16 drawing cycle, it's going to last on the screen for about 3 seconds. That's nothing that you need to worry about because the coding people are going to deal with it. And again, I'm just doing this just so that you can get an idea of what you're actually in for. But he was happy because we've already covered smoke. This one just happens to be vertical. You know, and I'm doing this little bit right here just so that if you do choose to do this, you can just do a screenshot of this and pull it right from here. All right, and so he wants it to be cartoony like this. He doesn't want like some strange realistic smoke or anything like that. So the first thing you do is you get this 16 drawing cycle to work, so it lasts for 3 seconds. So that's fine. You should all know how to do this. But he also wants a 3-frame intro and a 3-frame outro. So basically this thing here in his game is doing nothing. It's just sitting there doing nothing. And then all of a sudden, some sort of 3-frame that would be like your first frame, and then your second frame. And you could choose to do the third frame, either an in-between of this one going into this or an in-between going into this one. He also said that you could do 4 frames. So this right here could be 4 frames. So you would do this as a keyframe, this is a keyframe, this is a key for the first frame of your 16-frame cycle, which for the game engine is going to last about 3 seconds. And again, 3 frames either getting into it and then 3 frames getting out of it. And so that would just be going upwards. And so if this is coming on, right, if this is going upwards, then you just have 3 frames of the stuff going out. So let me explain this just by doing it this way. All right, so the way to get out of this then would be is that the smoke stops, the smoke comes up. So that's your first frame of the smoke going out, and then 2 more. And then finally, just the last little bits going off the screens, you know, something like that. All right, does everyone have a clear idea of what the director's looking for? So this is just the intro. And then this is the outro. This is the cycle. If you are interested in this, contact Brian Hess at BHESS@academyart.edu. There's no money. It's bragging rights and portfolio piece. You could get your name on the game. It's for the game department. It's for their collab. He wants it in the next couple weeks or so. He gave me some other things, but this is basically what he's looking for. So let me just, is anyone interested in this? Anybody? Isaiah? Maybe?
This is actually the project that I'm working on.
It's a what?
This is the project that I'm working on actually in the game collab right now.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
So do you want to do this one too?
Nah, I think I do too much already.
Yeah, all right.
I already be a part of that.
Jinhee, Janeska?
I'm
Isaiah?
actually in collab too, and
Okay.
yeah.
Isaiah?
I don't know. I don't know yet.
Okay. Jinhee? Madison? Jordan? Louisa? No, Madison says no.
We're
I'm
gonna
already at Studio X, so
Okay. Jordan?
Yeah, I was saying I'm afraid I'll have to decline.
Oh, he's going to be bummed. Isaiah, can you handle just a one-day project? I just gave you your layout right there. Maybe,
Maybe, yeah. All right.
maybe. I'll give you extra class credit for this. All right, let me get to lightning. All right. Why did I do that registration? Oh, I see. Okay. All right, what I'm going to do, so right now we're going to talk about lightning, and I'm not going to play this for you right now. What I'm going to do is I'm going to make a new layer. Oops. And you can tell there's already something there. And I'm going to put it right above registration. All right, and then I'm going to go to my registration layer. And I'm going to copy these registration marks, paste them. And you'll understand what I'm doing here in just a second. All right, F5. So this is pretty simple. Like I said, again, we're going to do lightning, and then we're going to do lava, bubbles, and eruptions all really quickly today. All really quickly. All right, so the first thing I do is I set what I call registration points for the lightning. If we go back to our look here, I have this set for gun blasts right now. Let's click on one of these for lightning. There's only a couple of things that you really have to consider about lightning, and that is just the shape. There's one in particular that I really liked because it was just different. So give me a moment to scrape it out of here. I don't think I posted it this long ago. Maybe I've been click happy. No, it's not that one. I'm looking for the little GIF, the lightning GIF. I think this is it. Nope. That's a tornado. I mean, this is really good for a tornado. So go back to the board when you're doing tornadoes. This is only it's like a 16 frame cycle, and it works pretty well. So I don't know why it landed right there, because I was actually trying to find the lightning. And now I'm at the top of my board here. All right, so this one will work for us right now. There's a whole bunch of really cool things about this. And then there's something that needs to be fixed. I think that the main form of the lightning, I think the shapes need a little work. But there's good flashing in there. This one doesn't have the flashing. And I'm just not finding the exact one that I like. Let me do this one more time. All right, so I don't like this one exactly. I think it's a little bit too plasma looking. And this one's okay. It's got a little glow effect on it, a lot of glow on it. It's not moving exactly how I would like. And this one's kind of a little bit more sporadic. This is the same one we just looked at. And now everything for me to all the rest of today, it's going to be lightning trending. That's okay. All right, I'm not seeing exactly the one that I was looking for. So let's just get this going here. All right, so this is an interesting thing to talk about for just a moment. If you're going to do a chemistry lab, and I think everyone should be doing a chemistry lab for the final of your project, I think that all you really need to do is get some sort of shape working. And I'm just going to put this on this layer right here. I'm going to put it on its own layer. And I'm just going to show you. So let's just imagine that there's a place in your chemistry lab where there are two electrodes, and that they're just giving a bunch of static electricity between those two electrodes. So just kind of like we do with our pixie dust, the theory is that this part can move forward, this part can move forward, but can also be opposite of each other. You don't want any two lines of lightning, or in this case, electricity, being in the same place at the same time. You only need 2 or 3 or 4 of these. The more differential, the better. The more different they are, the better. But they need to start and end in basically the same place. And you can do this just over the course of 4 or 5 drawings. A little movement is good. All right, and then so we're going to just test this to loop between frame 26 and frame 30. All right, so what we can do is embellish it by putting a second layer in here and just giving it a little thickness. Every single frame. And then you can paint the little parts that are overlapping. And so this plasma thing is just really easy. The trick is that you have to just you have to make sure that none of the bits of plasma or energy are in the same place. And it works fairly easily. It's just, you know, you've actually got a little motion in there. There's a whole bunch of different things that you can do. You can put little pixie dusts in here. You can put little sparks in here. That's just one way to do that plasma. For our lightning here, what we're going to start with is the idea that the lightning grows, and it looks kind of like a root. I've got a couple of things going here. I've got lightning on this layer right here. I've also got a couple other demos, which I'll show you in a moment. So the lightning grows, and even though it's moving at the speed of light, it goes from one registration point to the other. And then there is nothing for 2 frames. Let me just double check what I've got here. And then it comes back. And what these 2 frames are right here should be your flash. And so I don't know if I have this on my build as it is right now. So we're just going to do the flash, just like we did with our bomb. Right here is that you just do a white frame and a black frame, just like we did over the. Now there's a couple of things that you can do here. And I'm surprised that I didn't have this turned on. But instead of doing a whole white frame, black frame thing, let's just treat this like it was like a big glow. So right now we've got the lightning coming in, and even though it's moving nearly the speed of light, it's growing. It touches the other electrode and then it goes away. So right here, what you can do on this flash layer here is give yourself the flash that outlines the whole thing. So we're gonna just use this white color here, and we're just gonna kind of give ourselves a very graphic outline, a really thick, fat graphic outline, really far away from the actual shape of the lightning itself. And we're going to destroy this. We're going to blur this, and we're going to put a transparency on it. So you don't have to worry too much about the shape, but I think you should worry about it a little bit. So right there, it's kind of looking okay. And this one here, it can be, you can do it a number of different ways. It can be white frame, it can be white and nothing. And again, it could be, you know, you just go back to your main gray background. There's a number of different ways to handle it. So let us look at the very next frame here. And let's just see what happened to our animation. So what I'm going to do in this one right here, I'm going to just increase this by 1 frame, and I'm going to paint it. And let's just see what it looks like just all by itself. Just as pure, hold on a second, I have it. All right, so you can see there, it's just lasting for 2 frames. There are places where you can see that, I'm gonna just do a little drawing for you on this layout right here with my white, is that, let's say that you have your volcano, and your volcano is just kind of hanging out there. You've got the smoke working. Right? Everyone okay? There's your volcano. You know, I'm going back to like the thumbnail thing here. So what happens is that this little idea here of the lava coming out, the lava is usually like somewhere between 2,500 degrees and 3,500 degrees Fahrenheit. And so that's really, really hot, which makes this smoke superheated as well. And what happens is that it's so heated that the static electricity creates lightning. And so this would, so if you have the 2 electrodes here, so you go from this point here on one of the pieces of the smoke back down to the mountainside. And so you just kind of build into your layout the idea of the lightning. It's going to go right to there. And so when you're doing your layout, just kind of think about it as roots. You know, what does lightning look like? It can look like anything. Lightning has lots of straight lines in it. And so that's just kind of your layout. And you could do another one up here where it goes out and then it comes back, and then it's trying to find the path of least resistance to this point here. All right, and so the idea would be is that you can put that little sharp shape that I was just talking about, that I just little demoed right here, on this layout, and that could just be like this kind of amorphous organic shape behind the lightning right there. And so that's one way of handling it. And then you could do the same thing for this one. And then you just do the glow effect on it and the blur effect on it. And it's just really simple. You just kind of think about it artistically. What does this flash look like? You don't necessarily have to do the white, black, white, like you see here. You could do white and then another frame of white, or you could do white, white, nothing, and then white, white. There's a whole bunch of different options of how to do this flash, right? So another way to think about this is that there's lightning happening behind the cloud here. And you can choose anything. You could choose the white or white, white, or triple white, or any number of different things, and just have the smoke itself have a flashy glow behind it. So what I mean by that is that there's lightning happening on the other side of the cloud that you don't see, and that just as a outline of the smoke itself for a couple of frames, it just makes the whole smoke glow. For 2 frames, nothing, 3 frames, however. So that's a second way to do it. I think that I would like you working with either the white frame, or white frame, nothing, couple of white frames, because I don't think you need to do the black. The black is really just reserved for the explosion itself, for a bomb, just because it's so intense. It's so close to the camera. And I think that when we talked about my volcano example that I did, and you saw some of the ones from your classmates before, that they were using this approach here, where you just do the lightning, you get the lightning working first, and then you just put that little flash right in there. So for this right here, this flash could just take on a couple of different nodes. So you just treat it. You have a transparency. Let me get this set first. We're looking at this flash. Let me just, so we're looking at the flash. We're looking at this one. Remember, you can use your space bar in your flash. So this is the one we're looking at. And then we'll just look at these. This is your blur. So we can put a blur right here and we can put a blur and a glow and a transparency. You can put all three of these for this part. And you can control them all independently. So let me make sure I grab the right one. All right, you see what I'm doing, everybody? And I'm going to feed that into the composite. All right, so now we go back to the timeline, and you can see we've got a lot of stuff happening with the glow, the little flash thing, just as it is right now, just right out of the box. So right now, let's take the glow and ramp up the glow's intensity. Actually, what you want to do here, and I don't know why it just did that. So on this frame right here, you want to use your render mode. So click this into the render mode and just play around with the intensity. And this takes actually a little bit of time for the engine to think about it. So just grab this and ramp it up to like 3. And 3. Bring it. So let's play with the other ones too. So now let's go back in and do the blur and ramp it up more. So it's not giving me the clarity that I want. All right, let's put the transparency on it. Remember, 100% transparent is invisible. And it's opposite in After Effects, by the way. And so it's starting to get where I want. 90, that's too much. 84 is too much. 70. All right, so let me close the transparency. I think the blur is okay at 4. So now let's talk about the glow. And remember, in the glow, you can manipulate RGB and your alpha. So let's just take our alpha down a little bit. And a little bit more. Remember, alpha is similar to transparency. So that's looking kind of what we wanted. Remember that in the render mode, it will not animate. It won't move. So you have to go back to this and just see what the dynamics look like. And I think that the shape right there, let's just go back to our render mode for one moment. And on that particular frame. Now you can see here that I've got a glow node and a transparency node on this lighting right here. So you can see it right there. So what I did is I just copied, so I did the lightning first, and then I copied the lightning on, let me make sure I'm on the right layer here. So on this L2 layer here, I copied the lightning that I had done from my lightning 0 and just did like a brush behind it. And so that's another way to do this. And so you just draw the lightning with your pencil, and then on another layer underneath it, you use one of your paint brushes, and you just kind of give every single frame a little bit of a glow behind it, and then put a glow node on it. And that's a nice little effect. right? And I'm not doing the whole thing. I'm just kind of a little bit where I want it to be glowy. I can't think of a better word except for glowy. So I'm just using the brush back there. And so that's another way. So I've given you a whole bunch of different ways of handling this. So don't use the white, black, white. You can use the white, white for 2 frames, white, white, nothing. And then on the lightning itself, it can glow just as itself. You do want this crisp line. So one thing that you want to think about here is, and I'm just going to do this on my layout layer, is just to remind you that if you're drawing with the pencil, I'm still in red, that if you're drawing with the pencil, that you just get 2 points. But if you're drawing with the brush, you're going to get a whole bunch of points. So I'm just using the K key on the keyboard to show me my points. It's not showing it, so I'm going to use the direct select tool and the 2 key to zoom into it. So this is the time when you can really start to play with the actual vertices of this to make it look more like lightning. So I would recommend just using everything that you know in your bag of tricks. You can use the pencil tool to set the shape of it and get a nice crisp line. And then you can use your brush tool underneath it to get the glow, and then you can put a glow node on it. But basically lightning is just, I'm in the wrong mode, hold on. It's just that simple. All right, so let's just take a look at one other example here. And that is that there's a couple of different ways to handle this. This one, it's like it's striking and then it breaks up. It strikes and then it dissipates. You can do that if you really like it. I'm not keen on it. This one has got a couple of lightning bits all together with it. And there's a little plasma explosion. You know, that's nice. You could kind of think about just doing the lightning part of it for next week. And then, and I would put a whole bunch of different folders in there. And then embellishing on it that there's a plasma blast, the actual blast itself, and then a secondary bit of lightning for your chemistry lab. You know, that one's not getting me going here. You know, there's a kind of a bunch of cool things happening in this one, where you could combine the tornado with a plasma blast if you would like. There's options there. All right, let me go back to my main board. You know, this is an interesting one here. So your lightning is going to be dedicated by your layout. So this one's interesting here because there's a little circular plasma blast, and some lightning looking in the middle of it. You could also remember that this is so easy that you should have lightning in your tornado project too. So, you know, not to say that this effects class is just all lightning, but you can put it in 3 or 4 different places. It's like reminding you that when you're doing your smoke, that you should, and everything, that you should be thinking about style, right? All right, so let's, all right, I'm just gonna stop that for a moment. So what we're gonna do right now is we're gonna play this one more time. So that it's just really easy, it's really fast. I'm not convinced that you know, this shape is the best shape. It's looking a little too geometrical. Even in the render mode, it's still just a little too much. And so one way to think about this is kind of maybe doing this with the brush and moving vectors around. I don't think that erasing it is going to help too much. But if you use your brush, And you just kind of mimic it really quickly. You know, there's different ways of handling it. Again, I would not use the entire frame of white frame, black frame. All right, so let me put this away. What I want to do is put the projectiles from your lava. And this is going to be a new one. All right, so let's just take a look at this. So we're going to do eruptions. And we're going to do bubbles. And next week we'll do water drips and plasma. And then you should be well on your way. Or should we're going to do bubbles and eruptions and lava all in the same project folder. Bubbles, lava, eruption. Bubbles, lava, eruption. I'm going to actually make this one. Yeah, it's fine. All right, let's go through the same routine here. Color card. A second. Drawing. I always turn my drawing into the BG. We're going to give ourselves a layout. We're going to give ourselves, this is going to be lava. We're going to give ourselves eruption. We're going to give ourselves, what else did I say? Bubbles. I'm going to give ourselves, what else do I need? Bubbles, lava, Laschen, layout, background. I think that's okay right now. All right, we're not going to use this one. All right, so in my layout, and in the background, what I'm going to do is just give myself a medium gray. I'm just going to use the geometry tool, and I'm going to paint this a medium gray. Okay, and on our layout, what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at just a couple of things with the pencil tool. This is my background. All right, so this is going to be my layout. Stay organized, but the layout I want it to just be sort of a whitish color. All right, so we're going to do just a drawing of our volcano, caldera, stuff. So that's my volcano. All right, so we're going to do eruptions and lava just based off of this little drawing right here. And we're going to do bubbles over here. 3 things right in a row. So what I'm imagining is that we've got a horizon and that I've got like a little bog or something. So there's a lake or a pond that's right in front of us. All right, so this is pretty simple here. I'm going to take the layout out to frame 60 F5. I'm going to take my layout out to F5. And we're going to start with the lava itself. All right, so let me zoom in here just a little bit. All right, so on my layout layer with a red-ish color with this new, this is going to be lava rough. I'm just going to call it lava because I want it to match the the layer. Let me put this away. All right, but I'm on my layout layer. So what you imagine is that there's molten rock coming down here. All right, so I'm gonna just stop right there. Let's zoom in on this a little bit. What you do not want to do is you don't want the lava to start and flow and then stop, because this has to cycle, right? We're doing this for the game department. If this was for the animation department and we had a lot of money, right? And we could say, okay, the volcano is happening, and then just right in the middle of it, the lava starts to happen, and then it's going to grow, and it's going to come down here, and it's going to go into the water. It's going to hit the water down here, and it's going to create a whole bunch of steam. That would be great. That would be really cool. But remember that this mountain here might be 4,000 feet tall. It's not uncommon to have a mountain that's 4,000 feet high. This would take you forever to animate the lava coming down and then hitting the water before that you got a chance to do your steam. That's ridiculous. We don't want to do that. It's not ridiculous. It's more cinematic. What we want to do is we want to draw this lava so that it has a shape that's kind of conforming to the direction and the flow of the mountain itself, both on the top and on the bottom. But so this is the bottom. This is the bottom of it right here. And so if you wanted to do this thing where there's actually steaming water here, just get the lava to already be happening, because it's going to cycle. And just like our smoke, instead of moving up, it's going to move down. So now what you want to do is this bottom layer here is not going to move around very much. It's not going to move around very much at all. But the top layer is. And when you're doing your layout, just think node, little bit, little bit, little bit, node, little bit, and node. And so I'm trying to keep these nodes about an inch apart from each other. In little bit, node. 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 And you don't want to make it completely obvious to your audience, but little bit, node. Little bit, node. All right, so that's good. So let's just, so we're on our layout layer here, and we have a node right here, we have a node here, and we have very cleverly put our nodes so that we can animate, just like we did with the smoke, the lava going down. What's the next step? Isaiah, you're the only one with your camera on. What's the next step?
You're mute.
Oh, I don't,
You don't know? Yes, you do.
yeah,
This is lava. This is L, right? I'm just going to
Yeah.
call all of these are L. And in the world of animation, that's our first key.
yeah,
And we're going to animate from our first key back into our first key. So this is a chart. So we need
Yes, yeah.
our breakdown.
yeah.
So the breakdown is right in the middle.
Mhm.
So we're going to animate this node going halfway. So
Yes.
so now we've got two drawings. Just like that. So that would be this breakdown position. And then, so that's two drawings. And then we do an in between here and an in between here. And then that's a total of 4 drawings. And then we do this one, and this one, and this one, and this one, and we have a total of 8 drawings. And it's just that easy, right? So lava moves slow. So this is going to be 8 drawings for 8 frames apiece, equals about 64 frames. And it's just that easy. So this is, it's something that I could just stop right here and say, does everyone know how to do this? According to my notes here, this bottom line does not move. Everyone okay? But the top line does. So if this bottom line does not move, in your cycle, you can just copy and paste it in all of the keys, breakdowns, and in-betweens. And then you just like your smoke was going up, now your lava is going down. It's just that easy. All right, so I'm gonna assume, I'm making an ass out of you and me, that you know how to do that. Because you might want lava here, you might want lava here. That's the bottom line. Node. Oops, sorry. Node coming out. Node. 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 All right, you get that idea? So the thing here in your layout would be, is that you could have two of these moving. And it's just going to be a little bit of work to get these little nodes going for 8 drawings, right? 8 drawings. And if you got 2 of them moving, it might be fun to have this one be 8 drawings on 8s for 64 frames. But this one would be 8 drawings on 4s for a total of 32 frames, just to make it a little different. Everyone understand? So this one's moving faster. This one's moving slower. As long as you've got the lava hitting the water here, you could simply add a little bit of steam. You know, you could just add a little bit of steam right here. And you already know how to do this. So you just animate this node going to here, going to here. This node going from here to here, to here, to here, and then you dissipate it. And we can revisit this little steam next week if people get in trouble with this, but this might be fun because this, if you animate this correctly, this node right here, I'll just put a little dot, goes from there to there to there. And then this little open circle goes from there to here, to here, to here, to here, but then it breaks apart and it dissipates up in here. So it all goes away for steam. And this is extra. It's not part of our class build. It's, you know, you don't see steam in here, right? So that's just a little extra. All right, so going back to my lava thing here, if this is moving at 8 drawings on 8s for 64 frames, it's slow, and this one's moving at 8 drawings for 4 frames for 32 frames and moving a little faster, it might make sense to have a drawing of lava right here that doesn't move at all. And another little bit of lava right here that just kind of stopped. It's just not moving at all. It's just part of the background. You could even have another little bit right here that's not moving at all. And then you could dress it up. You have another little bit right here. And then you have the space right here. You know, this one, it's coming out and it just stopped. You know, all of a sudden, the drawing takes on like this really kind of cool effect, right? Everyone okay? Anyone have any questions? All right, so lava. All right, we've already done the lightning and I've done lava. This steam, I think we might have time to talk about this steam here for actually animating today, and the bubbles. So now let's do bubbles. All right, on our layout layer, what I want is a bubble color. I'm just going to call it bub. I'm going to, now I know that I don't have a really good example of this on my Pinterest board. And I'm not going to torture you too much, but I'm going to do one thing right now. I'm going to stop this. But we want mud bubbles because they have a better look to them. Oh, hold on. Is just go through the bubbles. Recording, share. All right, so let's go back to here. All right, so you can do this bubble thing here any number of different ways. I think that in your chemistry lab, you could certainly have a bubble and then copy and paste it and just have it floating away. You know, and so if you were going to say, what does my layout look like for the bubbles in my chemistry lab? Unless you really wanted to say copy and paste and have this thing jumping and moving absolutely incorrectly, what you would do is you would just say, this is bubble number 1. And so I'm just going to use like a star to indicate that that's my bubble number 1. And if you knew that the bubble was traveling along a path, that it's going to move into this position here, and into this position here, and into this position here, again, using the same kind of timing, it's not going to slow down or speed up, and then just copy and paste it into these positions so that it goes along this path. And in your chemistry lab, that's the easiest thing to do. You just draw one bubble. That bubble can have a highlight, it can have a shadow, it could have one of these kind of highlights in it, which is kind of fun. And then one of these kind of shadows, which is kind of fun. And you just do one stinking bubble and you copy and paste it. And you don't have to do anything. You just copy and paste it. That's it. That's all you have to do. Copy, paste, copy, paste. And you only have to do it 8 times for each bubble. So in your chemistry lab, if your layout looks like this, where you have 3 or 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 little bubbles, that's easy. All you have to do is draw a track for each one, copy and paste it. But for us, this is the primordial soup. And so let's do a mud bubble down here. That's more interesting. Again, we're on our layout here. And so I'm going to switch to bubbles right here. Instead of, well, on my layout, I could indicate where I want that bubble to be. I want it to be kind of big. So on my layout, I'm just going to use that as like the base of the bubble. I'm going to come up here and I'm going to zoom in on this. Oops. All right, so let's just talk about the bubble for just a moment. So right now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to copy this shape right here, Shift M, Alt forward, Option / Option S for select. I'm going to copy this and I'm going to end up pasting that into all my bubble shapes. So I'm just going to go back here. I'm going to go to Option / is the pencil. All right, I'm going to zoom into this. All right, so the first thing I want to do is just make the oval where the bubble is going to come up. And I am kind of thinking about this being in perspective. We're going to do this on 2, so I'm going to paste. That gives me my in-between. And I'm going to turn my onion skin on. And I'm just going to rise this up a little bit. And now you're all going to be mad at me for how exceedingly simple this is. I'm going to go 2 frames out, paste. I'm going to rise it up again. A little bit more. 2 frames out, paste, rise it up a little bit more. And I'm doing a couple of things. One is I am looking at the very center of this. So I want this to be, at one point, I want this to be more spherical than I'm actually drawing it. 2 frames out, paste. So I'm going to give myself a little bit more volume right here. And 2 frames out, paste. And right about now is I'm going to slow this down. And I'm a little shaky right here. It's kind of hard to draw that line. Okay, so that one, the 2 frames out, paste. Now what we're going to do is we're going to hold this for a moment. It's going to make it move just a little bit. All right, and then 2 frames out, now it pops. And instead of floating away, it's going to pop. And so paste, and then now it breaks apart. So have it break apart, and you can go back and look at your Joe Gilland book for special effects, or you can just follow along with what I'm doing here. But it's basically pulling. The tension is pushing backwards now. And so your energy is that it's returning back to the ground plane. I don't like that one. Not everything you have to do has to be so cartoony, but sometimes it's easy to see the cartoony shapes. All right, so that's the main surface towards us, but there's also the surface on the other side. And so that one looks like this. Oops, oh, that's fine. I don't like that one. Just like when we were doing our pixie dust, when we're doing any kind of effect, I am thinking of what the thing I'm drawing is. So, and this is going to be painted a different color. This area, this area, this area. All right, so that's how we're on 2 frames out. Now we're going to bring this back down, and we're just going to make sure that a lot of the shapes kind of follow. Oh, sorry, I forgot the paste. Now the back side. Now continue the oval and get the back side to come back down. Two frames out, paste. And now the front is just a little wiggle. And the back is, oh, oops, I don't, yeah, that's fine. Oh, a little wiggle. And now, now I want this shape too, which is like the continuation of the oval. 2 frames out, paste. And now this can relax. And this can relax. When we do water, you'll see that we're gonna just do ripples. But for this, we're not going to do ripples. The mud is too intense. It's not going to ripple. So right now I'm just going to take this and go 2 frames out, paste, and I'm going to just draw this guy like this. Now I'm going to hit Option S for select. I'm going to select both of these. I'm going to copy it, Option / for pencil, go 2 frames out, paste, and now I'm going to go backwards to the first frame. What does this need here? This needs to be painted. There might be a highlight on here. And you can just indicate that here with the same color. Now you're going to animate that upwards. So you're going to go keyframe forwards, and you're going to just bring this highlight up. And you're keeping it away from the line here in case you need to adjust it. Now it pops, so that highlight goes away. Let's go to the first frame. What does this need here? Let's just see what it looks like. Keyframe out. Okay, now what this needs, this frame right here is the frame where the bubble has just lost its tension. But there was a bunch of mud right here that actually popped. So right here, we're going to do a couple of little circles. And we're going to go and animate those up just one frame, one keyframe out. Now it's going to drop back down. So on this keyframe here, those two little droplets of mud are animating downwards. So here, animating downwards. Here, now we need to go 2 frames out for a new keyframe, paste the concentric circle, and those two hit and fall. 2 frames out, paste, and those are going to be absorbed. Let's go back to this frame here, where the actual tension became these 2 little dots of mud. And look at this one. We're going to turn our onion skin off just for a moment and go next keyframe. So now what we want here is that there was a little bit of air. So what I'm going to explain here is that in this frame right here, there was a bunch of air that was underneath, creating this sphere of air. Does everyone understand that? All right, so having said that, I'm going to leave that there. Go 1 keyframe out. Now that little pulse of air has moved upwards. We don't see it yet, but in this keyframe, we don't have enough room to draw it. But in this one, that little puff of air has created another little bit of mud that comes up in the middle. And I know that it's interfering with the size of the away, but that's okay. Keyframe out, onion skin on. This goes up a little bit more. So just kind of bring it up and push it together and let this guy become its own bubble. And then this one is kind of over there. Put that so you can paint it. Next keyframe, let it just move up just a little bit more. This, the rigidity is that it coagulates on itself. And now this has become its own little ripple. And now next keyframe out, now these 2 just have to fall. And they're becoming more circular because of just the tension, the surface tension. And we need another keyframe out. So 2 frames out, paste, and these guys are going to fall. They're speeding up just a little bit. 2 frames out, paste, and they're going to land. They're not going to splash too much, but they could do paste. They could do like a little bloop and bloop. And now let's just take a look at this with just our keyframes. All right, so what we're missing is this little shape right here, Alt S, copy. Next keyframe, paste. Next keyframe, paste. Next keyframe, I'm just going to draw it this time. So Alt pencil, Alt /. And now I'm just going to make this one just a little smaller because these guys are going to interfere with it. Next keyframe, just a little bit. And let's see what we've got. So for here, I'm just going to take this to the end of this shot with F5 and let's see what this looks like. All right, everyone got that idea? So that's a mud bubble. I don't like how these little 2 guys are sitting here. So So on this one, I'm just going to, I don't want to insert a keyframe here. What I want to do is I want to get rid of these guys here. The easiest way to do that is to just, I could just paste this thing right here again. So what I'm going to do is create an empty drawing, paste. Oh, I copied the wrong thing. So on this one, Alt, select, copy, paste, play. Okay, so that's just the beginning of the bubble. And again, I think that the idea would be is to, now I'm going to draw in Zoom for just a moment, is to think about these cool shapes. Here you've got the bubble coming up, right? And you've got this idea that the shapes can be just kind of like I drew them. And the away shapes, see the little dotted line? It's the away, that's the three-dimensional, so that there's, so this one has just a little bit more detail in it. You could also put holes in it. For those few frames when you see this, it might be really fun to just put holes in it. So with moving, I'm going to try to capture one. Oh, I almost had it. So that one was actually really cool. So this one you could try getting the mud to come up and then its tendrils are kind of connected to the bottom. It might end up looking like an octopus or a jellyfish or something, but that could be fun too. All right, so let us go back to Harmony. So I think I have just enough time to do this little steamy bit right here, right? So let us try this little steam. Let's Shift M. So all we've got animating right now is just the bubble. And you should imagine this is just the easy thing. Right now I've given you a key instruction for animating a bubble that's just copy and paste, animating two different kinds of moving lava and lava that is not moving, the bubble itself, and now the steam. You can do these separately and copy and paste them in your final composition, but let's just talk about this steam here. Oh, you know what? Let's do this eruption first. And I didn't do the lava because I just did it on the layout. Let's do the eruption. This is actually really easy. So I'm just going to call this ERP. And I'm going to give myself, I'm going to make it some obnoxious color so that I know to change it later. Some putrid green kind of thing, just so it shows up on the background. I'm going to, actually, I'm going to change this to ERP. Keep them consistent. Okay, so now, in the world of animation, on this layout, what happens is that we're going to go back to our bouncing ball idea in 2D animation. So I'm going to be 2D animation bouncing ball. And I might want to change this to drawing, but this is okay. So images, and what we see here is a bunch of different varieties, but the theory, the principle is, I'm trying to find a good one. This one's okay right here, that anything that is falling speeds up. Anything that's going up slows down. That's just the laws of nature. Anything that goes up falls, slows down. Anything that falls speeds up. As it falls, it reaches its terminal velocity. For us, this lava bit here is gonna, or the eruption bit is going to fall. I'm on my layout here. So let's just use one of these as an example. So the eruption is gonna go like this. And as soon as you hit this point, this is the apex. So that means that technically, literally, the projectile has to be the exact opposite, the exact mirror image of where it came from. And so if it's going to come out fast, then it's going to slow down. Actually, the best way to do this is to say half and half and half. So those are all quarters. And then just break this one in half, 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 and then go half, half, half. One more here, and then just start putting in your halves until about right there. So now you've got the slow in. So let me do that on this side so you can see it again. I'm going to do half. So this is the top, and this is where the projectile, the eruption hits. This is about halfway. And so break up it into quarters, break it up into eighths, and then go backwards now. And now it's going to speed up. So do half again on 16ths, and this is okay. Let that one be. And then do it one more time for 30 seconds. And then right there, you can stop. So now you've got a cluster of drawings right here and a cluster of drawings right here. You have ease in to the top position, which is your main key. And then you're easing out of that key position going to the right. Does that make sense? So all you need to do literally is, what is this eruption? What is it? So this eruption thing is just a rock. And you can copy and paste that just like you did the bubble. Remember that this is moving slow, but this is a bouncing ball. When your ERP, your eruption, is equals a bouncing ball. It's a projectile, it's rotating. So in the eruption layer here, I can just very simply leave it on my layout. I can zoom in here a little bit and just say I'm on frame. Let's take this out to here. Let's take our layout F5. Let's take our background F5. And so starting on the eruption, about frame 24, this will be 1 second. This little lava is going to, this little eruption is going to come out. So I could just draw it here. It's just going to come out of the volcano. And I'm going to use my greater than sign 2 frames forward and just draw it right on the arc. So 2 frames out, my eye is just kind of looking at the timeline to make sure I'm doing this correctly. And I'm just going to follow my layout. All right, now if you're following along, this is going to be a great place to do water. So, and not to like make it like this super overcomplicated thing or whatever, but if one of your projectiles hits this little mud, whatever, this little pond, this could be a great place for you to figure out what your water splash is going to look like. And so I'll just put that as a placeholder right now. But now you can think about all of the things that go into this layout itself here. Just as this is right here, you could say, you know, I do have another mountain in the background. And on my layout, this is the one that was just kind of steaming. You know, and then this one is the one where you just have the smoke that's up in front of the camera, the one that you just did. Right, and you have your holes in it. And your shadows. All right, so here, you know, you might think that this is actually steaming all the way off the, because it's not anything. So in your layout, then I think that what you would want is you don't want just one eruption. You want one good one that's going to set in place. You know, I just drew that, all of that on this eruption layer right here. So I'm going to have to fix that. But here on your layout layer, you would just want to choose, I want one projectile to come up like this. And remember that once it hits its apex, it's got to be a mirror image of each other. So one of them can actually just go straight up and off the screen, like behind the camera. One of them can go this way, off the screen. Another one can be just really short and tumble down the volcano. Another one can just go this way. You know, another one can go out that way if you want, and off the screen. You know, volcanoes can do all kinds of different things. And it's at this point when the animator might want to do this eruption thing first, so that in your timeline, slide everything down to the right and just have this eruption stuff happening first. Volcanoes don't often do this, but you can do this if you want. It's that it just explodes first. It just sends out a whole bunch of eruption debris first. And then the volcano starts to happen. Okay, you got the idea? All right, so let's talk about this. I know I'm overwhelming you. It's like, how many things do you want to do today, Billy? It's like, it's almost like I drank caffeine today. All right, so all right, on this drawing right here, I have a whole bunch of stuff right there that I want to grab. All right, so I'm just going to select everything. No, I don't want to select everything. Select everything? Nope. All right, so I'm going to Alt S, grab, copy, delete, layout, paste. Make sure I've got this in the right. Okay, that looks great. Okay. Perfect. Okay. On my steam layer then, if this is steaming the whole time, we'll start on frame 1. I want this white to go away a little bit. So on this layout layer, I'm just going to add a quick node. Layout. Transparency. Timeline, color, transparency, 70. Timeline, close, Steam, layout. Let's go back to our layout with a Steam color. And we're going to make it white with a little bit green. We can change it later if we want. Oh, shoot. I used that on my layout. Let's fix this. And just call this layout. That's weird. It's staying as green. I don't know why it's staying as green. All right, we'll figure this out here in just a second. I want my layout to be all right, I don't know exactly what I did. I'll fix it here in a minute. But I want this Steam. So it's Steam on my layout layer. All right, so what I want this to look like is just kind of our smoke, but it's going to dissipate. And I know that you can't see it because I have to readjust my transparency here for a second. All right, so on the layout layer, so I'm looking at this kind of shape for the Steam. And what I'm doing is I'm just giving myself, just like we talked about these little nodes, those are the things that are animating. But instead of animating all the way up, they're just going to go away. It's just going to dissipate. So I'm going to draw the dissipation. And we're going to draw them as bubbles first, and then we can just kill them with transparency and glow and all kinds of fun stuff. So on my layout layer here with the Steam color, now I'm going to put my transparency back up a little bit, just so I can see my first drawing of the Steam. And let's key this in. So outside curve, small, medium, outside curve, small, medium, outside curve. And I'm going to put a inside curve, outside curve, bigger, outside curve, bring it back, start on the bottom, outside curve, small, medium, inside curve, small, medium, outside curve. And so it's the same deal. We just animate this guy going up here. We're gonna, oh, this is our keyframe. So we're gonna draw this. And now the next thing that we need are the little holes in it. Just a comment about the holes. They're kind of continuing the shape of the sphere itself. So I'm not just drawing this random, it continues. This is going to continue this one. And that's our main first keyframe. We're going to draw this on 4s to begin with. I'm going to kill my layout so if I can see the first frame. And then we just do the same thing that we did before. We just animate this. We could do the breakdown first. So I'm going to do the breakdown first. So this is going into this one, small, medium. This one is going into that one. I'm going to go back to the first keyframe, second keyframe. So this is dissipating. This is breaking up and dissipating. Breaking up, dissipating. This one is going into this one. This little inside circle is going to here. This one is going into that one. And that one's going into the bigger one. All right, so that means that this big shape right here is breaking up. So start it by drawing this big shape breaking up into these two pieces. This is going into this position here. All right, so then make sure that if you're in danger of making it go backwards if you're not careful. So what's got to happen is that this shape right here has to go up first so that it doesn't go backwards. This little negative shape here can disappear, but have it go up first. All right, so that's the main in between. If I turn my layout back on, it would be really great if we could take the breakdown drawing out of there. But what we've got to do is we've got to go from the blue back into the red for what technically is our second breakdown. So 4 drawings out and start drawing. So you're going from the red back into the white. All right, so that just looks like this. It's just, we just got the first key, the middle breakdown, the second breakdown, and you can see that I'm still working on it. And so once again, this is just the steam bit. You get the main part working first. You can see, I'm going to just do this on the layout that maybe I didn't explain this perfectly, but basically there is this kind of push, right? You see that kind of push, and over here, I'm on my layout, so that's why it's turning a strange color. And so over here is where it dissipates. Here's where it disappears. All right, so we did a lot. We did a lot today. All right, I'm going to put a folder in the discussion area for all separate pieces for the lava, the projectiles, the bubble, the lightning that we did before. So those will all be there here in just a little bit. They're all really simple. They're all toggled up on top of each other. And right now you should be thinking, oh my God, you do definitely have to lay out your volcano and make sure that you can do these on your volcano layout. It'll be due in a couple of weeks. And then you'll have 2 more other projects. You'll have your tornado and then your main final, which is your chemistry lab. And you should be doing drawings for all 3 of those. You might have done a drawing for the volcano. Now that you can kind of see a little bit more clearly of how to do it, you might want to redo that little sketch so that it fits better in there. Okay, now that I've talked for 3 hours, is anyone up for the challenge of the smoke for the game department? Isaiah, you're hesitating. Anybody? I'm slammed. I can't do it. It's only going to take somebody a half a day. Louisa, can you do it? Jordan?
I think I'll pass, sorry.
Oh. All right, I will maybe try to find one of my other students from past semesters. I will post this to the